Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third of ACE webinar series on energy and climate nexus, entitled Empowering Women of ASEAN as the Key Player of Just Energy Transition. Through this discussion with women leaders from various backgrounds, such as policymakers, private companies, academicians, and also think tank, the objective of today's webinar is to empower women of ASEAN in setting up the standard of just energy transition that value gender equity. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Monica Merdekawati. I am the moderator of today's webinar. Currently, I am a research analyst of Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Department of ACE and also working for ACCEPT. I will try to guide you through this approximately 1.5 hours long webinar. In this webinar, we have 240, around 250 registrants. It's a good enthusiasm. And now we have almost 60 participants joining us today. I am pleased to welcome you, and hopefully we could have an interactive discussion throughout the session today. Next slide, please. So yeah, happy International Women's Day. Although now is already 2 days after, this webinar is carrying the same spirit. In fact, ACE through ACCEPT has started the initiative to increase the awareness towards gender equality since last year by highlighting the perspectives in energy issue from the 5 of 8 team members, which are women. Now, this year, we expand the initiative by asking the insights from the women leaders in ASEAN Energy Cooperation, and the feedback has been a very welcoming one. We have a recorded interview from 6 government officials, which 4 of them are the alternate senior officials of energy or SOE leader of ASEAN. They are Madam Kotami from PDR, Madam Nur Afifa and Hafiza from Malaysia, Madam Faith from Singapore, Madam Munlika from Thailand, Madam Mai from Vietnam, which also one of our panelists today. To explore more about their perspectives, please visit ACCEPT website here. And we are also honored to receive the opinion. Next slide, please. And we are honored to receive the opinion article from the Minister of Petroleum and Energy of Norway, Her Excellency Tina Bru. And also, so you can check her opinion towards gender equality here in ACCEPT website. And next. And we are also honored to receive the opinion article from Director of Bioenergy of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources of Indonesia, Madam Andrea Febimisna, and also Dr. Julia from Malaysia Nuclear Agency, and Madam Lilian from Department of Energy of Philippines. They are also available in ACCEPT website. So without further ado, I would like to share the snippet of the interview here.
Singapore too has recognized the importance of gender equality and taken steps to advance women's economic participation at all levels. Our core principle of meritocracy ensures that equal opportunities are available to both men and women. This includes education, employment, and board representation, amongst others.
Since we can see a lot of women's face appear in most of our activities amongst ASEAN, especially in the meetings or any activities regarding the energy transitions, there's the involvement from the women increasing timely to timely.
Based on our 10-year gender equality strategy, 2016-2025, one of the targets is to develop female staff in quality and quantity for sufficient standard in decision-making position, strengthen and enhance accurate knowledge to develop women careers advancement as will be a leader in the energy sector.
In my opinion, the energy sector is one of the less gender diverse sector, and crossing this gender gap will be vital as women are key drivers of innovative and inclusive solutions.
So as a woman, we should be brave enough to take the challenge, knowing that this is male-dominated industry, so we have to equip ourselves with knowledge, get as much as info, even it's not related to what we are doing now. We don't know, maybe one day the info might be useful.
My advice to all women out there, stay true to yourself, be passionate in whatever you do, and prove to them that you are where you are because of your capabilities and not because you are a woman.
We conducted a survey to gather the short opinions from women with various backgrounds in energy sector. Again, we are grateful that the responses have been a positive one. We received over 30 plus submissions of short opinions from all around the world, responding to 7 different topics, which you could also check in accept webpage here. Okay, next slide, please. Next, I would like to brief agenda of today. We will have two welcoming remarks. First, from our Executive Director, Dr. Nukiyautama, and the second is from the Ambassador of Norway to Singapore, Her Excellency Anita Nergard, and then followed with the keynote remarks for approximately 10 minutes each. The first will be delivered by Madam Tracy Crow. She is the Senior Director and Chief of Staff of Sustainable Energy for All, or C4All. And the second will be from Madam Christine Lins. She is the Executive Director of Global Women's Network for the Energy Transition, or also known as GWNet. Then continued with the panel discussion. In this session, we will begin with the introduction of the panelists, then followed with the comments from the panelists on the opening questions. In this session also, we will have a special presentation from Dr. Evita, the Coordinator of Sustainable Energy and Environment, Faculty of Life Science and Technology of Swiss German University. Then we'll be followed with the discussion session to respond to the questions from the audience. So I would like also to mention that you can start submitting your questions in the Q&A chat box here to our speaker. Hence, if you have any question upon listening to today's session, please feel free to send it to the speaker, but don't forget to mention which speaker you are addressing the question to. I will try to accommodate the submitted questions as many as possible as the time allows. However, apologies if in the end your questions are not addressed. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Nukiyautama, the Executive Director of Asean Center for Energy. Please, Dr. Nuki.
Yes, thank you very much, Monique. I'm very proud today to be here, surrounded by excellent speakers, especially women speakers, which is already proven for their achievement globally, and also colleagues from AIS and colleagues from Southeast Asia countries. Indeed, today is very special for me. Again, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, to everyone who attending this session. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Norway to Singapore, Her Excellency Anita Nergård, keynote speakers, Madam Tracy Croy, Madam Christine Lins, and distinguished panelists, Madam Nguyen Phung Mai, Dr. Evita Legowo, my mentors. Good afternoon. Madam Tana Sullivan, Madam Margaret Jackson, and distinguished colleagues, good afternoon. On behalf of the ASEAN Center for Energy, I'm pleased to welcome you to the third ASEAN Energy.
Hello, Pak Nuki. We lost you before. I still can't hear your voice. Maybe you are still on mute. Pak Nuki, I think you are still on mute.
Hello, testing.
Now clear. Thank you.
Okay. Really apologize for the technical issues. Seems to be that the energy issues really impacting our life. Again, on behalf of the ASEAN Center for Energy, I'm pleased to welcome you to the third ASEAN Energy and Climate Nexus webinar on empowering women of ASEAN as the key players of just energy transition. I would like to express my highest appreciation to the keynote speakers and distinguished panelists for their kind efforts and valuable time in sharing perspective with us today. It is an honor for us, ASEAN Center for Energy, to host this webinar. This event is organized under the initiative of ASEAN Climate Change and Energy Project, we call it ACEP, which is funded by the Royal Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As in the last two webinar series, we have discussed green recovery and the role of academia in the regional energy transition. And now, to commemorate the International Women's Day, we bring the discussion of women's role, how important it is, in particular, women of ASEAN in leading the energy transition. I hope this event will be a starting point for us to put special consideration of gender issues in the energy policy as a region. Apart from webinars, we also effectively publishing articles, policy brief, and opinion pieces in Energy Climate Nexus, which are available in both our website, ACE and ASEP. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that women participation in ASEAN energy sector has been improving, but not well documented. In ASEAN Energy Cooperation, we have a significant percentage of women leaders, with almost half of the alternate senior officials of energy or so leaders are women. In ACE, 41% of our staff are women, and the percentage of female speakers in all events organized by ASEP for the whole last year is more than 50%. Prior to this webinar, ACE has invited the women leaders in ASEAN Energy Cooperation to share their perspective and the feedbacks have been a positive one. To name a few, I would like to sincerely appreciate the contribution by our alternate leaders of Vietnam, Madame Nguyen Phong Mai, of Lao PDR, Madame Kotami Chantamalin, and Malaysia, Madame Nur Afifah binti Abdul Razak, and of course, Singapore, Madame Faith Ken. Continuing the success of the second webinar on the role of academia in shaping energy transition, today we will discuss the importance of women empowerment to ensure just energy transition, to reach a fair and equitable way of achieving low carbon economy. Hopefully, this webinar could break the long-standing paradigm towards gender issues in energy sectors and further extend the regional progress that we have made. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope that we could have an active discussion today. I hope lessons learned from women leaders in energy sectors could empower other women to take action in just energy transition. Once again, I would like to thank Norwegian government for supporting ASEP and to our distinguished speakers and panelists for their excellent efforts and preparation in supporting today's webinar. Until we meet again, I wish you a good health, stay safe, stay healthy during this pandemic. Thank you very much. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you very much, Pak Nuki. Thank you for the encouraging, welcoming remarks. I do agree with you that ASEAN should progress more to put special attention on the gender issue, especially in energy sector. Next, I would like to invite Her Excellency Anita Nergard, the Ambassador of Norway to Singapore. Okay, hello, Madam. So, please, Madam, the time is.
Hello, and thank you, Monica, and thank you also to Director Nukiyautama and indeed to the ASEAN Center for Energy for organizing today's event. And let me at the outset also thank my terrific colleagues in Jakarta for their tireless work for a stronger Norway-ASEAN partnership. It's an honor for me to be here today to open this webinar on empowering women as key players in the just energy transition, together with such excellent and accomplished professionals. Frankly speaking, I can see no subject better suited for a Norwegian ambassador to speak on than today's theme. Firstly, women empowerment. Gender equality is a fundamental value, and the empowerment of women a key priority for Norway, both domestically and internationally. Norway ranks as number 2 in the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report 2020. 2/3 of women in Norway are in the workforce. 40% of our MPs are women, headed by a woman. Half the cabinet is female, including my boss, the foreign minister. In the private sector, we require listed companies to have a minimum of 40% women on their boards. Women are in majority at universities and other institutions of higher education. And finally, we are improving, albeit too slowly, I think, on women in corporate management positions. And secondly, on the energy transition, Norway is blessed with ample clean and renewable energy resources. Hydropower complemented by wind supply almost all our electricity. Effective and sustainable use of energy is a priority for society and for every individual, or at least it should be. Our laws state clearly that the energy resources of the country belong to the people and that they should benefit all. Over generations, we have built up deep knowledge and expertise, both in the public and private sectors. And today, our energy companies, such as Equinor, Statkraft, Scatec Solar, Fred Olsen Renewables, and Ocean Sun, operate all around the world, including here in Southeast Asia. Even so, we struggle when it comes to the participation of women in the energy sector. We have a woman Minister of Petroleum and Energy right now, which is hugely positive. But women only make up 1/5 of the workforce in the industry. progress is extremely slow. To change this, it's a priority of the government in order to ensure that the energy sector draws on the broadest possible pool of talent and expertise. Taking a more global outlook, access to clean and sustainable energy is crucial for communities and societies. It's key for economic growth and for achieving the climate targets we've set. Today, women are underrepresented in the energy sector worldwide, both at policy and decision-making levels, and usually in the sector's workforce. Women empowerment really is key if we are to achieve a just energy transition. Our task is clearly set out in the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 5 on girls and women's position in society, and SDG 7 on access to reliable, sustainable and modern energy services at an affordable price. Globally, the number of people without access to electricity fell below 1 billion for the first time in 2016, according to the World Bank. But even so, around 3 billion are still dependent on polluting stoves for cooking. Recent reports show close to no progress on this over the last decade. Energy poverty is not gender neutral. Due to traditional gender roles in households, workplaces, and societies, women are disproportionately affected by lack of electricity and clean burning stoves. They spend a lot of time securing energy for the family. Their health deteriorates as a result of spending hours in the toxic smokes of cooking stoves. Asean's impressive efforts, therefore, to increase electrification rates and improve cooking stoves have a direct impact on the lives of thousands of women. This is important work, even transformative. Southeast Asia's rising energy demand and potential for accelerated energy transition thus carries with it the promise of an enhanced role for women in the region. More educated women, women entrepreneurs within the sector, and women with access to economic resources will help us achieve a just energy transition. International cooperation and partnerships between governments, the private sector, and academia are crucial, allowing us to share experience and ideas, build awareness, and find solutions. As an example of this, and as part of our partnership with ASEAN, as I mentioned, Norway is pleased to fund the ASEAN Climate Change and Energy Project, ACCEPT. In addition to gathering the ASEAN member states around the topics of clean energy and integration, the project emphasizes the role of women in the sector, and I really look forward to hearing more about the findings of the projects in a short while. In conclusion, allow me to echo my Minister of Petroleum and Energy in encouraging more women to join the energy sector to help solve the energy transition challenges in a better, more just, and more equitable way. I wish you all a fruitful seminar. Power to all girls, girl power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Anita, for the excellent notes on the call to improve women participation in workforce, especially energy sector. Although Norway already have a good progress on this. Okay, thank you, Madam Anita. So next, we will begin with the first keynote remark from Madam Tracy Crow, the Senior Director and Chief of Staff of C4All. She has a diverse background and career across international relations, clean energy, and communications. Prior to joining C4All, in November of 2017, she was a senior strategic advisor for the U.S. Department of Energy. There, she advised senior officials on clean energy policy and technology cooperation opportunities. She also managed the Secretariat for the Clean Energy Ministerial, or CEM, and spearheaded clean energy-related campaigns and initiatives under the CEM. In her first career, she worked in corporate communications, managing employee communication channels and marketing initiatives for a major United States financial institution. She has a master's degree in carbon management from the University of Edinburgh of United Kingdom, as well as an undergraduate degree in communication from Chapman University of United States. Please, Madam Tracy, hello. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you to the ASEAN Center for Energy for organizing this event today and for the honor of joining such a fantastic list of speakers. As you have likely heard this week and on International Women's Day, we are far from on track to achieving gender equality and Sustainable Development Goal 5. From our work at Sustainable Energy for All, we know that we are also behind on delivering the promise of Sustainable Development Goal 7, which is access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. In the last year, women in Southeast Asia have been hit exceptionally hard as they have worked in sectors hardest hit by the pandemic. They're shouldering additional responsibilities at home and being called on to care for the sick and the elderly as well. In spite of the challenges of the last year, though, we have a unique opportunity to both accelerate action on the Sustainable Development Goals and to recover better from the pandemic. We can do this with an investment in sustainable energy and with a just energy transition that is at the heart of our next steps. It is now more important than ever to ensure women are at the forefront of these efforts, not just as recipients and participants, but as leaders. But this means we must address the role of women in the energy sector and tackle the long-standing norms and biases that have exacerbated these inequalities. Far too often, we forget that this energy transition for billions of people and communities around the world is first and foremost about access to energy. A just energy transition supports climate action, but also underlines the for all in our mission. Equity is key to our success. Today, inequalities in energy have never been starker. For example, in 1 year, the entire nation of Myanmar uses less electricity than Americans do just playing video games. As the world continues to deal with the pandemic, growing climate change impacts, and societal injustices, it's critical that we accelerate a just energy transition that puts women at the forefront and addresses these inequalities. This means we genuinely and repeatedly engage all people across race, gender, geography, income to develop equitable solutions that will truly meet everyone's needs. That's why in every aspect of our efforts, we challenge barriers to participation and champion women as the future leaders of the energy transition. At SE for All, we're thrilled to have recently partnered with the Global Women's Network for the Energy Transition, along with the Clean Cooking Alliance, to accelerate the careers of women in clean cooking from over 15 countries and across all aspects of the value chain. This mentorship program supports participants' professional growth and fosters a global network of mentorship, knowledge sharing, and empowerment. Stepping back to the larger energy sector, we know that female-led energy access initiatives and those focused on providing women with sustainable energy are in urgent need of support. Yet the latest data from our Energizing Finance report series published in 2020 shows that while finance for energy access with a specific gender focus has increased over the last decade, it still remains a very small share of the total financial assistance in the energy sector. So as the global pandemic exacerbates gender inequalities, we must address this roadblock to finance for promising initiatives quickly and at scale to create opportunity and improve women's livelihoods. Now more than ever, we need to continue supporting the current and future women leaders of SDG 7 and pushing for gender-focused finance. Women must be part of the economic, social, and political transformations that come with a transition to a clean energy future in order to participate as agents of change rather than merely as recipients. As we recognize this critical year for women's empowerment, we at SE for All are restating our commitment to putting women at the forefront of SDG 7 and championing them in the push for sustainable energy access for all. The leadership of the Southeast Asian nations will be critical to this push for SDG 7 progress and gender equality in this final decade of action. And we look forward to working with you all to achieve an equitable and just energy transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Tracy, for the excellent notes. I do agree with you that increasing the participation of women in energy transition is not enough, but we need more women leaders at the forefront of the SDG 7. Okay, now we will continue with the second keynote remark from Madam Christine Lins, the Executive Director of GWNet. Besides as the Executive Director, she is also founder of GWNet, which aims to empower the sustainable energy sector. In addition to this, member of the Board of Directors of the International Solar Energy Society, or ISES. From 2011 until 2018, she worked as the Executive Secretary at the Renewable Energy Policy Network of the 21st Century and 21 at the United Nations Environment Programme in Paris, or UNEP. Between 2000 and 2011, she served as the Secretary General of the European Renewable Energy Council. She has also worked in a regional energy agency in Austria in promoting energy efficiency and also renewable energy sources. She has a master's degree in international economics and applied languages. She has more than 25 years working experience in the field of renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. Hello, Madam Christine. Nice to have you here. Yeah, please, Madam Christine, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Monica. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for the invitation to address the distinguished audience and to speak with you about energizing women to advance the energy transition. Following Tracy, I fully agree that we need to increase the share of women in order to have this transition advance more quickly and more inclusively, and why this is what I'm gonna tell you in a nutshell in my presentation. If I could have the next slide, please. GWNet, the Global Women's Network for the Energy Transition, is an international non-profit association that was created in 2017 with the aim to advance the global energy transition by empowering women in this space. I am proud to say that we now have over 1,500 members from 100+ countries. And next slide, please. We run a series of, among other activities, mentoring programs, because we have found out that it is a very fruitful approach that younger women can get a mentor along their side to help them advance in their career and also to encourage them in the steps to take. You see a whole list of programs listed here. We are currently having opening of regional national mentoring programs for Latin American, MENA countries, India, China, Ethiopia, and South Africa. So there's deadline for application the 28th of March. Should any of you come from these countries and be interested, please check it out on the link provided on my slides, which I'm sure will be shared with you after the webinar. If I can have the next slide, please. Why are we doing all this? When we look at the energy transition, we see that it is a multidimensional, as the Oxford Institute of Energy Studies describes it, complex, non-linear, non-deterministic process. It's clear that it will radically reform the existing energy supply and energy demand systems, but it clearly goes also beyond replacing fossil fuels with clean energy sources. It's about changing consumption, distribution, investment patterns. It requires new actors, new capabilities, new coalitions, new socio-technical regimes of policy, regulation, mindsets, and belief. And along with this behavior change, it requires diverse backgrounds, capabilities, and perspectives, and it will require a large pool of talent. Next slide, please. According to IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, at the moment, there are globally 11.5 million people employed in the renewable energy sector. And this figure is supposed to increase to 42 million by 2050. If we look on the right side of the slide, at the moment, the share of women in renewable energy is with 32% higher than the share in conventional sectors like oil and gas, where it's only 22%. But still, we see that we are far away from gender equality, and especially when we move towards STEM jobs, the more technical jobs, we see that the share of women even decreases. And clearly, if this sector is successful, it will need the best talents of both men and women. Next slide, please. So there is a lot to do, and there are a lot of ways, policies and solutions how women's participation in the sector can be advanced. This ranges from mainstreaming gender perspectives, creating networks and supporting mentorship, access to education and training, gender targets and quotas, workplace policies and regulation, and of course also focus on work-life balance, to have flexibility in working conditions to better combine job and family. So these are just a few examples, and I'm sure that during the panel discussion you will touch upon some of those. And clearly, why should companies and governments do all this? Next slide, please. This is because gender equality is not just a human right. Of course, women have the right to have access to employment on equal terms with men, but studies have shown that this is really also good for the economy. It improves global GDP. There are studies out there indicating that reaching gender equality by 2025 would increase global GDP between 12 and 28 trillion US dollars per year. We clearly see that companies with diverse leadership have better results. They are better prepared to survive financial shock. They have often improved profitability, have decreased risk and overconfidence, have therefore higher returns on investment, have increased action on environmental issues and decreased litigation for environmental breaches, and often they have more stringent decarbonization policies. So as the former managing director of the IMF and the ECB president has put it, when more women join the workforce, everyone benefits. So it's not only a right per se, but it really makes economic sense. Next slide, please. GWNet has recently published a study which is entitled Women for Sustainable Energy, Strategies to Foster Women's Talent for Transformational Change. And there we provide an overview of, on the one hand, women's current participation in sustainable energy workforce in both developed and emerging economies. But we also provide a series of examples showing the benefit of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And we have done industry interviews for this and show good practice examples and recommendations for both governments and the private sector for a more gender diverse sector. So I'll encourage you to have a look at this study, which is available for free from our website. Next slide, please. I would also like to just alert you of a campaign we have launched last year, which is called Energy Transition Role Models. Because we have seen that there are not too many women energy entrepreneurs in the world, and we really believe in the power of the role model, and so have created this series in order to encourage others, especially young female students and graduates, to follow the example of these women entrepreneurs. So should my presentation have attracted your appetite to join the Global Women's Network, please do so. Last slide, please. By joining our ever-growing network of women professionals on the link below on the slide, because clearly our vision is to empower, to provide visibility to these women, but also to connect them with each other with the aim of advancing the energy transition more quickly. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to you, Monica.
Vietnam. She has been the alternate leader of Vietnam Energy Corporation for 9-12. She has been a long-standing focal point of regional. Okay.
Excuse
Hello.
me, can you repeat again, because I did not hear you clearly.
Okay. Can I check? Can you hear me now clearly now?
Yes, yes, it's okay now. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for the technical glitch. So it is I am experiencing a bad connection. So I will just briefly turn off my webcam now in case it occurs again, the technical glitch. So okay, I will continue. So she has been the alternate SOE leader of Vietnam in ASEAN Energy Cooperation for 9 years since 2012. She has been a long-standing focal point of regional energy cooperation. She is in charge in formulating plans and organizing the implementation of cooperation programs with multilateral and bilateral partners, also managing the cooperation activities under the framework of international commitments in the field of energy with other countries. The aim is to promote the development of Vietnam's energy industry in electricity and renewable energy sectors. She graduated from Hanoi University, holding multiple bachelor degrees in economic laws and foreign languages. She also holds a master degree from University of Dongbei of China in social management. Hi, Madam Mai. It is nice to have you here. So, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mai. First, may I ask your view? Do you think the woman's role in energy transition is important? And how is gender equality integrated in your working environment?
Thank you for your questions. Firstly, I would like to express my great honor to present at our webinar and share my view on the participations of the women in energy sector in general, and also the energy transition in particular. As you may know that nowadays we see more and more women face in all the sector, including the energies. And from my experience, I think since the first day I joined with the ASEAN Energy Corporation since 2012, year by year, I see more women's face around the table. At the beginning, only me and one or two other ladies were there. And I think in energy sector, the role of the women is increasing rapidly because we already overcomes the challenge and the difficulties of ourselves being a mother and being a staff in the office at the same times, and we already prove to the men that we can do as good as they do, as well as they do. So I think it's very nowadays the role of the women in energy sector become more and more important, are more confirmed. And specifically for energy transitions, I think there's no doubt that the role of the women are also increasing too, because I can see around me all the policy makers or the consultants or the experts. Most, I think in Vietnam, about 1/3 are women. And the contributions of the women in this process is already acknowledged by the leaders. That is why they give us more chance to show off ourselves. And I think during the work, because we admire the role of the energies in our life and the environment we need for our kids, that means for our futures, we know it even better than a man in some sense. I think that is why we try to do our best to contribute to make the energy transitions to be success in the near future. For the Vietnam situations, I think nowadays we have the very clear plan to increase the share of the renewables in the energy mix. So at the moment, about if we also calculate the big hydropower, for example, in the energy source, and the other type of the renewable like a solar or wind, then in Vietnam, more than half of the share are from the renewable, and we keep increase that number, and many initiatives to increase the renewable are come from the women. For example, we have the renewable divisions in our office, and half of the staff in the divisions are women. So I think the contributions of the women in the energy transitions in Vietnam is quite visible, and we will keep that trend. So I think that is my first sharing. Is there any other questions about the Vietnamese situations? I will be happy to explain more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mai. It is encouraging to know that women is behind the significant development of renewable energy there in Vietnam, and I hope it could transfer well to other ASEAN countries also. Now I would like to briefly introduce our second panelist, Dr. Evita, the lecturer of Swiss German University, who also the founder of the new study program, Sustainable Energy and Environment of Swiss German University. Besides as an academia, she is overseeing 2 other companies and 1 agency. She is the President Commissioner of Kaltim Methanol Industry and also the Independent Commissioner of ESS Energy and Infrastructure of Sinarmas Group and the Chairperson of Supervisory Board of Oil Palm Plantation Fund Management Agency of Indonesia. Prior to that, Dr. Evita also the Supervisory Board of Indonesian Petroleum Association. Before her retirement as government officials, Dr. Evita has a lengthy experience under her belt in several ministries of Indonesia. She was the member of Board of Commissioner of Pertamina and also Director General for Oil and Gas in 2008 until 2012. She also the assistant to the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources of Indonesia for Human Resources and Technology in 2006 until 2008. Before this, she started her professional career in Lemigas since 1974. She was the director of Research and Development Center of Lemigas prior to her role in ministries. She graduated from Institute Technology of Bandung, ITB, majoring in chemistry, and obtained her doctoral degree from TU Karlsruhe of Germany in petroleum chemistry. Hello, Dr. Evita.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Evita. It's an honor for me to have you here. So in this session, instead of asking your opinion on the opening question, I would like to welcome you to share the presentation. Please, Dr. Evita, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to thank you also to ACE through Accept that inviting me to present to participate in this webinar. And because you have a lot of questions, so I try to make it the answer in the presentation. Yeah, maybe the slide is a little bit lot, but I will try to manage in maximum 15 minutes. So next slide, please. Yes, here is the outline. I will not read one by one. Next slide. So now is the question is how inspiring and empowering women actually. Next. So here is about that I never dream about success according to Estee Lauder, but I work for it. Yeah, completely you can read it by yourself in the ACE website after. Next. This is I think is more for me is more important that I have to talk about here for how to inspire and empowering women. Always be there for others. Always inspire them with your dreams and hope. Passion and mission and attitude and aptitude. And when you share your experience with other people, you help take away their fears. Yeah, because somebody else can do it. Why I cannot do it? Yeah, this is as simple as that. So next. So here is just I make a summary of my experiences. I think Monica before has read about my experiences. So although I actually December 2012 I was already retired from the government official, but I still active to do anything also as a lecturer, energy lecturer in the SGU. Next. Yeah, women in energy. Next. Here I would like to show you that the amount of male and women is in female Indonesia is almost the same actually. Yeah, it's really very similar. Next. Here is also I would like to show you that in mining, because before I come from oil and gas, but now I work a lot with the renewable energy. So it is the percentage of women in the mining is very small. Yeah, only 0.15%. Here is in Indonesia. Next. Yes, but if you see here from the civil servant by gender, it looks like that starting 2018, women is more than men in the civil servant. So it makes me happy actually. Yeah, because before it's never like that, but starting 2018 is different. It's happened difference. Yeah, next. And here is in the, because as I mentioned, I came from oil and gas before. So you see here globally in oil and gas, women is very small if you compare with men. As a DG before, if I can open the meeting with saying, ladies and gentlemen, I was so happy because normally in my front is only men. So in oil and gas it's like that, yeah. But so this is the situation. It's not only in Indonesia, it's also globally. Next. So here is the position in Indonesia as a woman. A woman in Indonesia in oil and gas industry. Next. Here is female labor in oil and gas again. If Indonesia compared with the other country, is also not a lot, yeah, only 6.7%. Next. So now it's challenges to provide equal access to oil and in general challenges of women in energy activities. So I would like here to mention that actually the challenges is I will divide it in two challenges for women. Internally, so internally it means that we as a woman in energy need support and understanding from the family. Commitment to the option of a woman's role as housewife, career, or both. Living away from home and loved ones if we have to go survey and something, and long hours and shift work. Sometimes we have to work a long time. Yeah, although actually in another career is also the same, but especially for oil workforce, sometimes we have to go far away to survey. And the external challenges is the image is formed that requires physical ability to work in remote areas, and this forms a paradigm in this industry. Yeah. So activities in the energy industry which are considered to be men's work because they deal with field activities, hard objects, and everything. So yeah, that is actually in general challenges of women in energy activities. Next. Now it's about challenges to provide equal access and opportunity for women in energy sector. So according to SDGs aims to end poverty and promote well-being and prosperity while safeguarding ecological system of the planet by 2030, has placed a much-needed emphasis on energy access and also gender equality. So we have heard from the speaker before that it says really we need an effort. Of course, in some countries it's already there, but not for every countries. Yeah. Next. And here is challenges to provide equal access and opportunity for women in energy sector. The main challenges is again the parents from the very, very beginning. The willingness to give the same opportunity to their son and daughters to choose their dreams, need more socialization, what energy is. Yeah, because sometimes if the daughter would like to go to the STEM education, you are a girl, something like that. Yeah, so I think it should be a special socialization about it. The second one is the policy from the government and global understanding. The third is the will from the woman itself. What do you want to do? Gender gaps related to access to energy, finance, training, employment, and also entrepreneurship need to be redressed. Yeah. So policies that include both women and men in the development states may help support more equitable access. Therefore, more effort is needed again to involve women in the design and production of locally appropriate energy technologies. So infrastructure project, for example, we can invite both men and women. Next. So here, challenges increasing women's in research and women participation in STEM education. Yes, next. So the question is why it is important to bring women's perspective in energy studies. Yeah. So actually, if we see from the the not poor country, so women is really play a very, very important role in the energy. Yeah, because sometimes if they still use bioenergy, traditional bioenergy, so who will do it? It will be women and girls. So and then so according to me, using a gender lens approach to energy access program is a very good social policy and also would enhance the effectiveness of energy policies. So their position is in society equips women with an understanding of the cultural and also community context, which is useful for introducing behavioral changes with regard to energy consumption at the household level. So we can start. So why it is important to bring women perspective in the energy studies. Next. Yeah. So the number of women, but if we see from the STEM education, the number of women in science and engineering now is growing, although yet men still continue to outnumber women. Yeah, especially at the upper level of this profession. Yet fewer women than men pursue this major. Girls' achievement and interest in math and science are shaped by the environment around them. Yeah, most people associate science and math fields with male, and humanities and arts field with female. This is still there. The perspective like that is still there. Next. Here I would like to show you that a woman's in STEM occupation, there are as biological scientists, chemists, material scientists, computer and mathematical occupation, engineers, and architects. Myself is chemist actually. Yeah. Next. Now about opportunities for women. for women to become leaders in the energy transition. For me, the opportunities there. The opportunities are there. You can be a high-ranked government officer, CEO in the energy companies, energy business leader, high-respected researcher, or good energy lecturer. Are there? The opportunities are there. Why? Men and women actually have their own characteristics as the leader. So we need both. Yeah, women should be ready. Yeah, it's back to us actually. Next. Yes, according to my own experience, as a woman, I have as a director for Limigas before. The total members in Limigas were 1,000, and only 10% of it is women. And I was the director. How I can do that? So we have to focus, commit, balance. In everything, it should be balanced because I have 3 children. Yeah, balance, honest, strategic thinking. It's very important is communication, and also we have to active listening and also reliable. It is my actually it is my recipe for you young women if you want to be a leader. Yeah, next. So now about the opportunities for women now in clean energy research to accelerate energy transition in ASEAN. Next, you see here that ASEAN, Southeast Asia, we have a lot of potential for energy. Almost everything ASEAN have it, yeah. And also opportunities for a cleaner energy structure. Next, next. Here I would like to show you, if we see from the Asia Pacific performance varies on gender equality indicators, especially for the Southeast Asia. Pak Nuki here, leadership position in Southeast Asia is very, very good. With that, extremely high, except only for Philippines and orange for Singapore. So the leaders are there, women leaders are there. So why you cannot do that? Yeah. So next. So the potential energy are there, the cleaner energy are there in Southeast Asia, and the woman leader is also huge in Southeast Asia. So now just up to you, young women, to do that, to use this opportunity. What are the opportunities in clean energy research to accelerate energy transition in ASEAN? For me, because I work also in the research before, I was the director for research and community service. So you will see here that ASEAN clean energy potential is huge. Energy markets are there. Women leader in ASEAN, huge. And then the research opportunities, you can do the research through the technology with your STEM, economical viability for the economies, policy needed, social and cultural support in energy transition, mapping and planning, implementing clean energy. Yeah. So next. Yeah. So closing now is the end. So here I would like to show you that serious effort is needed to move beyond understanding the importance of both energy access and gender equality. Access to modern energy is a key enabler for women's empowerment. Gender gaps related to access to energy, finance, training, employment, and entrepreneurship need to be redressed. The woman position in society equips them with the understanding of the cultural and community context. So this is very important that women should be involved. Yeah, more effort is needed to involve women in the design and production of locally appropriate energy technologies. The masculine image of STEM and the energy industry is not quite right. Yeah, it is evident that women can do it also and can do it too. So, but now at the last sentence is for you, young women. So, employment choice and commitment receipt written to you yourself. So, thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Evita, for your comprehensive and insightful sharing. Now, allow me to introduce the third panelist, Ms. Tana Sullivan. She is the Group Head of Sustainability at Gojek. She joined Gojek in 2020 and leads the company's sustainability function to accelerate and expand its environmental and social efforts. Before Gojek, she was at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. She led partnerships on a range of sustainability-focused initiatives in ASEAN and globally. She engaged with business, government, and civil society leaders to work on issues such as energy transition, circular economy, food security, deforestation, and financial inclusion. Previously, she held various public sector roles at the Canadian and Australian governments, covering international development, natural resource security, and foreign trade and investment. She holds a bachelor degree in international relations from Bond University and Master of Political Economy from University of Melbourne of Australia. Hi, Tana. I'm pleased to have you here.
Hi, Monica.
Hi. So, what do you think of the woman's role in energy transition? How important it is, and how is the gender equality integrated in, for example, in Gojek's policy?
Thanks, Monica. So, of course, thank you to ACE, Accept, and all of the distinguished speakers today. Very excited to be here. I think in terms of energy transition itself, obviously I am not an expert, nowhere near the caliber of the other speakers or other panelists today. That said, I am completely biased in saying that, of course, women have to have equal participation, not just in this dialogue around energy transition, but also in the action that's needed to resolve some of the biggest challenges that I believe our society has ever faced. And of course, energy transition is directly linked to climate change. These are real threats that we all know are very urgent and time sensitive. And so by excluding 50% of the world's population, you are only getting a small segment or small perspective on what kinds of solutions need to be put in place. So I think some of the other panelists already have shared some examples of the data, for example. I think that's important right now to set the scene. So I wanted to share a few statistics with you. The World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report, the ambassador of Norway to Singapore, Her Excellency Anita Nergard, actually referenced it being Norway ranking 2, I think number 2 on the list. Iceland is number 1, but Iceland actually hasn't reached gender parity. They're still 88% of the way. If you look at some of the statistics in that report, in the latest report, we are still 100 years away from reaching gender pay equality between male and female employees. We are still 163 years away, if we stay on the same trajectory, for equal participation of women in the economy as men in Asia Pacific. 163 years. That's within any of our lifetimes, no matter how advanced anti-aging technology gets. That's in none of our lifetimes, nor in the lifetimes of our children in the next generation. So for me, I am so tired of this, right? I mean, I am outnumbered at work. I am outnumbered at home. I have 2 sons, so I am definitely outnumbered at home. And I'm just really exhausted having to be that voice in a lot of the spaces where I am in my personal life and in my work life as well. And so these kinds of conversations, I think, are incredibly important, but we need to make sure we're actually taking action towards integrating women's perspectives into what energy transition is going to look like for our country, our respective countries. Look, this is going to be a collective effort to solve the energy transition equation. We know it's the biggest component leading towards solving or avoiding completely a climate disaster. And so for us, all hands on deck, absolutely. And so women are a huge, segment of that, very important. Otherwise, we're only harnessing or leveraging 50% of our collective brain power and innovation and potential for solutions. Look, in the technology industry, coming from Gojek, we're still not there. We have 33% gender diversity within our company. It goes down to around 24% if you look at the leadership levels. So we have a lot of work to do, but we are doing our best to try and integrate, the right processes, the right policies, the right modes of working, so that, i.e. being more flexible, to ensure that more and more women can take space in our own company and be part of those conversations as well within our own organization. And so some of these efforts include things like setting up employee resource groups so women and male allies can come together and talk about some of the challenges specifically that women face at work in a working environment, and try and find a way to resolve them. It includes things also like programming that's specific for women leaders in our company. It also relates to kind of our recruitment practices and how we, provide growth opportunities and development opportunities within the company as well. Those are real metrics that we have already started tracking, and we want to make sure that we are achieving year on year, moving ahead to reach full parity. Now that's within our own organization. Across our ecosystem, for those of you who aren't familiar, Gojek has an incredibly large, wide, vast ecosystem of very, very many stakeholders. And looking at driver partners that we work with, looking at the merchant partners that we work with, we also are embedding these diversity principles, diversity and inclusion principles, to how we work with them as well. We want to make sure we're lowering the barriers for women entrepreneurs to come onto our platform, be part of our ecosystem in a meaningful way. However, no matter what we do to invest in those efforts, we still know that women disproportionately are responsible for unpaid work, which means they carry the disproportionate burden of domestic and caregiving duties at home. So while that, and by the way, no country in the world has actually reached equal male to female parity in that extent. So on top of our day job, we're also coming home and carrying the brunt of the responsibilities of caring, whether it be for children, whether it be for elderly parents, and home duties. And so, all that in context, absolutely we need to all be doing collectively better. And so I think these types of conversations, again, are very, very important, but we need to make sure we're moving towards tangible policies and tangible programs that make sure that women have an equal footing and have an equal voice. We are going to be the most vulnerable to climate-related risks and issues. Women are, although we make up 50% of the population, or over 50% as I understand it, we actually make 73% of the household financial decisions. So things that relate to budget for shopping and purchasing items for children or for the household. 73% of us are responsible for that. And so we already have some of that power. And so for us at Gojek, it's really about harnessing that specific part and trying to remove some of the frictions for some of these women so that they're not just consumers on our platform, but they're actually entrepreneurs. They have opportunities to diversify their income generation on our platform. They have opportunities to diversify the growth and being part of the formal economy through our ecosystem. But we're just one player and one ecosystem in a very, very complex, diverse landscape. And so for us, it's also about who we can work with to make sure that we are accelerating getting to gender parity. We know it's not going to be an individual company, individual organization, individual unit kind of effort. It has to be a collective one. And we're so open and so excited about some of the organizations that we're already working with, but even more so excited about the potential partnerships that we can embark on to accelerate getting to achieving gender parity here at home in Indonesia, but also across the region as well. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tana. I'm glad that you addressed the unequal appreciation towards women in work. Indeed, it is an important issue. So next, allow me to introduce the fourth panelist, Ms. Margaret Jackson, the only one from our panelists that currently live from Washington, United States. Thank you again for your kindness to join this webinar at such an odd hour there. She is the Deputy Director for Climate and Advanced Energy in the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Center. Her portfolio includes analysis of the geopolitics of climate change, support for Trans-Pacific partnerships on energy and climate, and a significant policy and technology program that advances next-generation energy technologies, including renewables, battery storage, and geothermal. She was also the Council on Foreign Relations Hitachi International Affairs Fellow at the Institute of Energy Economics of Japan and China Fulbright Scholar at Tsinghua University, Institute of Energy, Environment and Economy. She also previously served in US Navy. She also holds a master's degree from Georgetown University with a focus on energy and climate policy and bachelor degree in political science from United States Naval Academy. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Monica.
Thank you for your patience. So it's a pleasure to have you here. So may I ask your comment on how important the woman's role in energy transition and how is it integrated in your organization or perhaps in United States? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the ASEAN Center for Energy and Accept for having me here today. It really has been amazing to listen in on this program. And I feel like a lot of things have been said, but I'm very, very excited to share my perspective. As Monica mentioned, my background is in energy and climate policy, but before that also in the military. So I've been a part of a male-dominated work environment for many years. I'd just like to start by talking about this idea of just transition. I really love this conversation. I love that we're focusing on the aspect of women. We hear this term a lot around the world right now in Europe and in terms of looking at how coal workers are transitioning to new jobs and offering opportunities in this energy transition. We talk about in the United States a lot about environmental justice and energy access and how to make this more of an inclusive and equitable transition. And I think we've heard a lot this afternoon about the challenges that the pandemic has really exacerbated, both for women, for lower income communities. And then in addition to that, we've talked about the slow progress in reaching gender parity. But I think I want to make sure that we end here on an optimistic note again about what the energy transition offers. We're looking at, huge adoption of renewable energy really across the ASEAN region, across the world. And in doing that, we're creating a new workforce. We're opening up opportunities in offshore wind and smart grids. And we've heard a little bit about the opportunities in innovation. We need the innovation to meet some of these challenges, like Tana was just saying. So, and in that, there's a huge opportunity, but we can't overlook the fact that there's still barriers for women to get there. And a big part of that is access to STEM education. In the United States, we really see low levels of women, both in secondary, but also in college education in mathematics, science, and engineering. So there's a big push to get women, again, more interested in this. We've talked about how there is some implicit biases in what we think of as an energy professional, as an engineer, and often that is a man that we picture in our mind. And I think all the women here represented today show that we have the capability and like we heard, maybe it's just our choice to choose to study engineering. But I think the more women we see in those ranks above us, the more interest we're going to have in these fields. And I do think it's a testament again today to have us all here talking about this and to show that women are here doing this work and we're out there. I can say in my own career, it's not only been my own desire to an interest in this field, it's also been the people that have guided me along the way. So that mentorship piece is really important. I'll talk a little bit about what we do. I work at the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Center. We're a nonpartisan foreign policy think tank based in Washington. And we think through all of our work now through this diversity, equity, and inclusion lens. So we talked about with the ASEAN Center for Energy, in all of our panels, we aim to have gender parity if we can, but certainly female representation. In who we highlight, whose work we publish, we want to have women's voices represented. I think that's really important, but it takes an intentionality in looking at who you're inviting. And another big part of this in bringing women to the table is is a recruitment effort. Really getting out there and looking for not just taking the first few people that come, but looking out a little bit more broadly is something we try to do more and more. So I will just say that I think, again, this is a really important conversation. We have so many challenges, and women bring this unique perspective. We can problem solve. We understand that we're really the fabric of our communities. And I think, again, there's a huge opportunity here. So I'll stop there because I know we want to take questions from the audience, but thank you for the opportunity to be here, Monica.
Thank you, Margaret, for your kind words and encouraging notes. Because the time limitation, I think, I'm sorry, we cannot take any more questions from the audience or discuss it during this panel discussion. Now, I would like to invite all panelists to please turn on your video camera. I would like to invite you to share the short closing statement about the topic today. So maybe I could start from Madam Mai first.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy to hear all the sharing from the panelists. I think the presentations from Ms. Evita is very impressive to me. You show a lot of the facts and then the indicator to present about the gender equalities in energy sector. I'm sorry that I did not have those numbers from Vietnam to present, but it also reflects situations that happens in Vietnam. So thank you for your sharing. I think that from the sharing from Miss Margaret and also Miss Tana Lee, we also can be affirmed that the role of the women be more and more important now and in the future. And I think that what we should do now is firstly, we improve ourselves to be more strong, and we jointly work. We create more collaborations among the women and help each other in energy sector. And we may have established our women's channel to connect in parallel with all the collaborations. So by that time, we could share not only the corporations activities, but I think we can create a forums to share the experience of the mother or of the woman, how we overcome the challenge of the women's working in energy sector, and especially for the energy transitions. So that is my point. Once again, thank you very much, and I hope you have beautiful days and enjoy the months of the women celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mai. So next, I would like to invite Dr. Evita to share a few words as the closing statement.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like again to thank ACE to invite me, to give me the opportunity as the old generation to the younger generation. I would like really again to encourage women everywhere to be there, to take a part to develop energy, especially renewable energy, because men and women, as I mentioned before, also it is actually we have to work together. Each of us has our own has our own strength. So if we can make the combination, it will be very good. And women is actually again, people mentioned then all women is a leader. So I think so. Please really take part in this development of renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Evita, for the encouraging words. And now I would like to invite Ms. Tana to share a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Look, I think the other panelists and Margaret coming up after me is probably going to do a much better job at summarizing all this. But if I could leave the audience with one thing, you know, we at Gojek are absolutely committed to diversity and achieving that, not just in our company, as I mentioned, but also in our ecosystem. Related to energy transition, I think we all know what the urgency is of how and why we need to solve this and accelerate some of the solutions. We would love to see some female-led solution, female-owned and led solutions for battery technology, energy storage, new kinds of ways for achieving energy efficiency, solutions for accelerating electrification of the transportation system here in Indonesia and the other markets where we operate. These require incredible amounts of brain power and innovation. I'm not going to pretend that I have even an ounce of that, but there are much smarter minds out there who are working on this. And I promise that if there are women-led solutions coming to us, we will absolutely look at integrating them, piloting them, working with them in our ecosystem, because those are the kinds of solutions we want to see, and we know that that's how we're all going to be able to collectively achieve a just and energy transition for all. So those are my final words. Thanks.
Thank you, Tana, for the kind words. And now I would like to invite Margaret to share a few words.
Yes, thank you. And I want to say one of the things that we can all talk about how great women are, but I love that there was an economic argument today, that this just makes business sense if you couldn't be convinced before. Irina says that with more women on the board of directors, they're more likely to make investments in renewable energy and to factor risk in when they're making again ESG decisions. So I love that you talked about how in Vietnam women were behind that renewable energy policy push, and it's going to be continue to be important as we move through this transition. And I hope other countries will follow the example of Vietnam. That was really fantastic. I also just say from the United States, we are all really excited to see where the Biden administration is going. On International Women's Day, he signed an executive order setting up a gender equity council. So we're going to look at really a whole of government approach to making this happen in the United States. So I hope that we can continue to improve in this area and specifically target, again, the talent that women bring to this really complex challenge of climate change. So I look forward to working together with you and with other women throughout ASEAN as we move through this energy transition. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, I look forward to on working with you in the future. And then, unfortunately, due to time limitation, we have to conclude today's discussion. I would like to highly appreciate the insightful answers and excellent efforts from our panelists here and also the speakers. Again, thank you, Madam Mai, Dr. Evita, Ms. Tana, and Ms. Margaret. And I would like to appreciate the great participation from our audiences. With the high number of participation until now, we still have 80 audiences. And but please don't leave the webinar yet. Let me invite Mr. Benny Suryadi, the manager of Accept project. He will deliver the closing remarks and a few updates on Accept activities. Please, Mas Benny, over to you.
Thank you very much, Monica. Am I audible? Can you hear my voice? Right. So thank you. I'm so rich. I'm so grateful listening the powerful insight from all of our powerful women. I personally thank each of you for joining with us today. I myself have 4 brothers at home and 2 sisters. So man is majority at my parent house. And same like Tana, I have 2 boys as well. So we are majority as well in my own family. However, I'm so grateful that blanketed by the spirit of gender equality at home and also in the office. As shared in the beginning, in this webinars under leadership of Dr. Nuki, in ACE, we strive for a gender balance, like showing before 5 of 8 of our Accept members are women. So it's a 62% of the woman composition in our Accept team. And for all of the events that we organized last year, that 56% of the speakers are the females. So this is a small step, of course, but allow us to share this broadness with everyone, that we know these are the only small steps, but we do hope this could strengthen in our collaboration effort in empowering women as a key players and leaders of the just energy transition in ASEAN and the world. So thank you very much for that. Before I end it, allow me to share a few information about our projects. Next slide, please. So as again, we are still in the current COVID-19 pandemic situation. So we try to equip everyone. We analysis information about the COVID-19 situation and the impact on the energy and the climate change. So feel free to visit our website to understand more that what happened in every country and how we can collaboratively work together to build back in the green way. Next slide. So we also have what we call ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and Climate Change. So this is a group of scholars, academicians who are working on the issue of the energy and the climate change. It's not only engineering, but it's also socio-economy, governance, and technical issue. So around 50% is also women on this researcher group. So I'm very happy to share with everyone. So inviting everyone to also join us in this ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and Climate Change. So more women is also encouraging to be part of the researcher working on STEM, because as the speakers mentioned, that it will bring significantly contribution to our energy transition. So I think that will be my last slide. Again, on behalf of ACE, Dr. Nuki, and our team, that would like to thank you everyone for joining with us today. That feel free to visit our website. We have a lot of articles, video, voice from the women about the role of the woman on energy transition. If you want to also share your voice, feel free also to visit our website, and we look forward collaboration with everyone, especially all the great panels, females that we are having today. So personally, I would like to thank you everyone, and thank you for joining with us today, and see you again in the next event. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.